Today, thanks Susan for sharing. Today we are going to be using our new blending brushes. These are probably the softest thing other than like a baby skin. Honestly, I think this is the softest thing I've ever felt. They come with 3 in a package, and I think you're going to love them. If you already like blending with sponges, or even if you don't, you're going to love these because it just gives a really nice, soft blending. So I'm excited that I got to play with these today. And let's show you right now what's happening. I'm first going to show you some cards I made with the what I call, or is called, the embossed resist technique. We're going to heat emboss first, and then after that, then we blend color with our brushes, and the color goes to the cardstock, but not on top of that heat embossing. So that's why it's called emboss resist technique. Hi Bonnie from Connecticut. I'm glad you're here. If this is your first time with me, I am Mary Knabe of stampinpiece.com. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Columbus, Ohio. And I'm so happy that you're here, and I hope that you will continue to follow along with me on my Stampin' Up! Journey. Okay, things are popping up all over my screen. So here's the first card I made with the emboss resist technique. Isn't it? It's just so simple and elegant. And this is from the brand new art gallery stamp set, which this does come in as a bundle with dies, but I just used the 2 stamps. I embossed the white onto white cardstock, and then I did the blending, added the color with my blending brushes. So super simple, super elegant, super quick. Okay, and really, how many? Yeah, these would make perfect note cards to send just because, but they would be great really for so many occasions: birthday, get well, thinking of you, encouragement and hope, sympathy, celebration, writing teacher notes, you know, a little surprise for a colleague, anything. This could be anything at all. Here's another one I did also with the embossed resist technique. I embossed the white flowers, and this is a cluster of flowers. It's a single stamp with all that on it. And I heat embossed, stamped in Versamark, and heat embossed with the white embossing powder again onto crumb cake cardstock. And then I blended soft suede ink, crumb cake ink, and then I wanted a little more color, so I put some Flirty Flamingo blending in there too. And you can see I've got all these different colors, but they all blend together. There's no stopping and starting of different colors. So another very simple card with the embossed resist technique. And then here's one that's a little fancier. I embossed the poinsettia and the pine sprigs from Poinsettia Petals stamp set. Embossed, stamped again in Versamark, and then used the gold embossing powder and my heat tool. And then I used my blending brushes to add some color, some mossy maddow and some cherry cobbler. And of course, the more ink you add and blend, the darker and richer the colors will be. It's just a matter of what your preference is, okay? The next one I'm going to show you is what I'm actually going to make with you. And I just realized I don't know where all my pieces are for this one. Oh well, I'll have to cut. So this is the one we're going to make together. And I'm using the Snowflake Wishes stamp set. And you can see I've blended several different colors. I took my color scheme from the Snowflake Splendor Designer Series paper. You know how I am about that, and I'm always telling you, if you're looking for a good color combination, focus on the designer series papers and pull the colors from there. And I promise you can't go wrong doing that. So let me show you how I did this. Okay, I'm starting with a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of cardstock. I honestly had like a little tray sitting here with all my stuff. Is that crazy? But then I started cleaning up and doing other things, so maybe I put it all away. Is that crazy? Yes, it's crazy. Okay, and I need one more piece of scrap paper. And I want to, now when you're doing heat embossing and the emboss resist technique, it's good to have everything laid out and ready to go. Okay, so I've got my powder right here. I'm going to put my brushes out of the way, but I've got my white embossing powder. I've got my heat tool to my left ready to do its job. And I've got my Versamark ink, and I've got all of my stamps that I'm going to be using. So I have a variety of snowflake stamps, and I'm going to start by inking up the largest one very well with the Versamark ink, and I'm going to put this on 3 times. Make sure you're pressing down really well to transfer all of that sticky, tacky Versamark ink. And I do like to have things going off of the cardstock. Just makes it a little more real, interesting. Then it also looks like you, like we've made our own designer series paper. Oh, Susan, if you have not tried this, you are going to want to after tonight's Facebook Live. I love heat embossing. There's just something about the magic of watching it happen, I'll say. Okay, so I poured off my excess. Oops, I can see I missed a spot. Make sure you get all the spots filled in. This tip needs a little powder. Okay. Now keep in mind that you do want that ink to be moist when you add the white embossing powder. So for that reason, I'm not stamping everything. I'm just using one stamp at a time. Okay. So the next one I'm going to use is this one. It's got several snowflakes on, cluster of snowflakes. And I want to ink this up really well. And I'm going to go in between some of these larger snowflakes. Whoops. And then, so I did that 3 times, so I'm going to add some white embossing powder to these before they dry. And as you're working on this, be careful of where you're putting your fingers so you don't mess up the snowflakes that you've already done. I can see one little spot here. There. And next I'm going to do this teeny tiny cluster of snowflakes. I'm trying not to stamp onto the places that already have embossing powder, but if I do, it's not a huge deal. It can be a little tricky seeing this Versamark ink on white cardstock because it is clear. And then of course we're using white embossing embossing powder. All right, and next I'm going to use this medium-sized snowflake. trying to fill in some spots around the edges. Like that. I'll try one over here. Again, I'm being careful where I'm holding. We should do an embossing, heat embossing Zoom class. That would be fun. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit more of these tiny snowflakes, just because I've got a couple spaces that look a little empty, and I want to get these couple of corners too. Be nice and full, but you can put as many or as few snowflakes on as you like. I like mine pretty full. But the question now is, where am I going to hold on to it? Oops, I'm right in the center there. Now it looks like I'm using a whole lot of embossing powder, but I'm really not, because all this will go back into the container. Trust me, one container of embossing powder will last you quite a long time. Okay, so that's pretty good. And now I'm ready. Let me move this. And then now I am ready to heat my snowflakes. So watch the magic happen. Just going to hold it in place for a few seconds until I see the powder starting to melt. There we go. And once the powder is starting to melt, I'm just going to slowly move my embossing tool over the different areas that were stamped. Can you see it happening? Oh, I always think this is so fun. You're just moving the heat tool ever so slightly as you see the powder continue to melt across the cardstock. And then when I think it's finished, I just quickly guide my heat tool over it and go back and forth just to be sure that I got all the areas, especially around the edges. So I think that looks really good. You saw that puff of embossing powder when I got too low to the tabletop. That's why you want to put your embossing powder to the side before you turn on your heat tool. So I have chosen Balmy Blue, Coastal Cabana, and Highland Heather. Okay, and I've got my 3 brushes. Now one thing to note is these pick up very little ink at a time, so work with a little bit and you can keep adding layers to make the colors darker and richer. The other thing is they do stain. Okay, they were perfectly white when I got them, and you can see they do stain, but no ink is coming off. So I'm going to start with, you know what, I'm going to start the other direction. Before I started with the Balmy Blue around the big snowflakes, but this time I'm going to start with Highland Heather. And I like to tap it in there, maybe swirl it just slightly. Do not press hard. Do not press at all. Okay. And then I just like to swirl it on the scrap paper first. You can see how very, very soft that is. And I just keep swirling, going in a circular motion around that snowflake. I'm going to add some more ink. Do the same thing to another large snowflake. I'm one of those people who hopes for a nice, let me get one of these pop-ups off. I'm one of those people who always looks forward to a couple of nice snowfalls. You know, that kind where you wake up in the morning and look outside and everything's just covered in a blanket of snow. And of course, if we get snow for Christmas, that's always a big deal. But Ohio, it's hit or miss. We'll take what we can get, right? Weather's constantly changing. Okay. Pam, I believe the answer to your question, does the color wash out of those brushes? I believe you are going to see some permanent staining. Okay. Just kind of like our chamois, some of the color might wash out, but I think over time they will be staining, but I will have to check that out when I clean up this evening and report back to you. They're super easy to work with, super easy. I'm barely touching it to the ink pad, and then I'm just moving in a circular motion. Some more blue in the center. And the fun thing is, when the colors meet or blend together, there's no line. Like, you can't really see the start and finish of a color. I think that looks pretty good. And remember, you can always go back and add more color. Karen, you want me to take your snow in Michigan? Yeah, we probably don't get quite as much as you do, that's for sure. Especially depending on what part of Michigan and what part of Ohio you might be in. So what are you thinking? Do you need to add the blending brushes to your wish list? We don't sell these quite yet. They will be available starting January 5th. However, if you are a demonstrator or you sign up anytime now before January, you can take part in the mini catalog pre-order, which begins December 1st, meaning you can get the products early. And I'm excited because we also, during that pre-order, can earn the free celebration products as well. So it's a fun time. Well, it's always a fun time to be a demonstrator. Don't get me wrong. I love my job. It's so much fun. A lot of work, but it's lots and lots of fun for me. Okay, let's see. This card, I used Coastal Cabana. So what do you think? Should we go with Highland Heather cardstock for this, or the Balmy Blue cardstock for this? Karen, I certainly understand that because I grew up in Cleveland near Lake Erie, and we were used to getting snow, and then I've lived in other parts of Ohio, south, I'll just say, very south, And yes, people freak out if they hear snow is coming. Okay, Katie says Highland Heather. So we're going with that since she's the first to respond. And look, I believe I already have one cut. Yes, 8.5 by 5. Is that 5.5? Yes. So I've already got a card base cut. The reason that is I didn't know that's what we would be using, but whenever I make a card, often I make 2 cards at once. But if ever I make one card, I still cut and score. Well, obviously cut because it's half a sheet of cardstock, but I always go ahead and score it too. Ooh, that's going to be very pretty. Do any of you have the Snowflake Wishes stamp set? I love this. Well, I just love snowflakes in general. But the sentiments are ones that really grabbed me. You know, here I have Thank You Snow Much, Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas, May Your Season Sparkle. It's another one. Our friendship is one of a kind. So some really great sentiments in there. Oh, one thing I forgot to tell you, and where is my paper towel? You want to, after you do this, take a tissue and just go over, you're just wiping off the embossed areas just to make sure there's no ink sitting on top of them. And you can see mine, there isn't. But you do want to do that just in case, because otherwise you may get it on your fingers and transfer it to other parts, cards, and what have you. All right, let's use this silver mesh ribbon. This metallic mesh ribbon is so much fun for me. So much fun. It was with our Halloween suite, Magic in This Night, and honestly it looked really cool for Halloween and with all those products, but I've been using it for so many other purposes and occasions. So if you haven't tried it, try it. I suggest you do. It is fabulous. Not just for card making, you could even wrap a small package and use this ribbon to wrap it and tie a bow. The other one I just did a knot, but on this one I think I want the bow. And let's see, what sentiment should we add? Let's just go with another Thank You Snow Much. I'm always looking for good thank you cards, and this will be nice to have right after the holidays too. So I'll just stamp on a piece of white scrap paper. And punch with my 1.5 inch circle punch. Gigi, I'm glad you like it. Oh, for weddings. I did not think of that ribbon for weddings. Char, great idea. I would love to see it carry over too. It is so much fun to work with. Okay, I have that. I'm not going to layer this because I think I'm going to put this right on top of that bow. Just like I did this one, put it on top of the knot. And I'm going to do that with dimensionals. You're right, Char. This is a great ribbon for mailing too because it's so soft and light and airy, and even the knots are not very thick. Okay. You know, oops. Okay, I think that's good. Oh, I love it. What do you think? You know, the blending with these brushes and doing the snowflakes, just like every snowflake is unique, all your cards are going to be unique. So this would be a fun project if you're making multiples, because even though you're making basically the same card, they're all going to turn out different. So what do you think of the emboss resist technique? Something you would like to do or try if you haven't already? If you missed my Make It With Mary Monday Facebook Live on Stampin' Piece VIP group, this is what I made. I showed a couple of wine bottle tags that I had made for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. And then with everybody watching, I made this birthday one for my daughter, Emily. Her birthday is tomorrow. She'll be 24. And the family, she's super, super busy. She's in grad school, but the family is meeting in Cincinnati on Saturday to celebrate her special day. And then today, along the same lines, I made this gift card holder for her. So if you go to Monday's post or simply look in videos on Stampin' Piece VIP group, you'll see this project, and then I'm showing you now, but you'll see all the products in this wonderful, beautiful art gallery suite. Or floral gallery, floral art, floral, something like that. You know, the catalog's not official yet, so I don't know all the names. Yes, Susan, I did make a card. So I'm excited about that, and I have to go pick up her gift card tomorrow to a place I think she'll enjoy shopping, but probably wouldn't spend that herself. Any questions about the products you've seen tonight, about the blending brushes, anything at all? I don't think I gave you a price on the blending brushes, did I? Let me see if I can't show you the inside of the catalog. We're not allowed to do that until the catalogs go live, but let me see if I can quickly find the price. Oh, not bad. The blending brushes are $12. So you get all three in the pack for $12. So good deal, good deal. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with me. I always enjoy getting together with you and sharing products and creative ideas. So thanks for being here. My next Facebook Live will be in my Stampin' Piece VIP group at 11 a.m. on Friday. Not sure what project that's going to be. I've had several in the works. Okay. Thanks very much. Have a good evening, and I hope to see you Friday. If you're not currently subscribed or receiving notifications for this business page, Stampin' Scrap with Mary Knabe, be sure to click like at the top and then go to notifications, and you can click to be notified when I go live. And if you're not a part of my Stampin' Piece VIP group, you are welcome to head over there and request to join. Thanks again. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.